Felt like putting this out here because sometimes, we have a lot of us thinking that if you want to succeed in business, something that you could just do at your spare time or in your spare time, whenever you got time, you can just come in, pop in, and spend some few hours and become that successful businessman that you see on YouTube. That's only possible on YouTube, but the reality is that this thing that you are about to build, don't get me wrong, it's very, very possible. And if you are already on this journey of trying to build something for yourself, I want to say very, very big congratulations, because I have been on this journey for a long time. And at the end of the day, I'm so happy that I have learned a lot of things for myself. I have seen what's possible. I have tested myself to see what I can do in different situations. And that alone makes me very, very happy. All right. That being said, if you are on this journey, congratulations. You are on a good journey, of self-discovery, because there's a spiritual aspect of you building a business. There are so many things that you can ever learn about yourself in schools, in your current job, but when you start to build a business for yourself, you're going to learn a lot and you're going to be amazed at what things are possible, how fast you can learn, and what you can actually do, and how the little thing you do in your closet can actually affect a lot of people, out there. I'm here now, sitting down, doing the work. All right. And at some point, I felt like, what? I have to put the camera on, because if you always have to look for that convenient time to make content, man, there's always going to be something that's going to cut it. Ideally, I'll sit outside where we have natural light and everything's kind of white and record a video. But outside, it's always going to be that some wind or some aeroplane or some helicopter is flying through and the whole sound is just messed up. And when I sit here on my desk, it's a little bit, dark inside, but it doesn't really matter anymore, because at the end of the day, you're going to be fighting with time. Like I said, that which you are trying to build takes time, and that time you do not have it because of the way what you are trying to build is. You need time to post offers as if you sell physical product. You need time to set up marketing campaigns if your business depend heavily on customers on the internet. All right, you need time to create content, you need time to post this content. The basic thing that you're going to be discovering is that your business might not be making enough money for you to employ somebody, because everybody that has ever written me or come into my DM always propose me a service. At the end of the day, the service appears so expensive that a small business will not be able to, pull that cost and still survive at the end of the month. Because most of the time, if you have to, pick an editor, like for me right now, I'm already at the point where I need to get an editor, because I have suddenly realized that if I want to be making dedicated videos all the time, I'm going to be slowing myself down. And the best thing is for me to just take a camera wherever I go. If I find something that is of interest, film it, capture that data, send it to an editor to clip it, whatever, cut it up, just post it, But if I want to engage an editor right now, yes, it's going to also be a little bit stress on my time, because I have to tell the editor what I actually want, give some kind of description. Of course, I know you can put that argument like you can do it one time and then the whole process is on autopilot. This is ultimately where I am going to, but I first have to look for that time, to look for a good editor or to look for a clipping service that can actually clip this content that I generate. If I sell computers on the internet, everything I do is content. For me, picking up the computers from my suppliers, me bringing them, testing them, showing you what kind of dents are on the PCs or laptops, showing you the things that went wrong while testing them. All these are content, and these are content that I can actually monetize. And if you're not monetizing them, if you have a business where you generate content per second, today alone, I think I already have content worth over, I don't know, just if you don't count the pieces of content I already have, now it's about 11 o'clock. I think I already have content well over 200 different pieces of content, because I have gone to the warehouse. I have seen that there was no transactions today. Now I have come back. Yesterday I was posting items. I posted about, I'm just going to count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 different laptops. They have not sold. Of course, they are getting views. Because the thing is, if you post items on eBay, it takes about 24 hours for the item to be indexed, to be on the eBay search, and eBay taking them and doing whatever they want to do with it, which is the marketing. When you see eBay ads on Google or on Facebook, wherever, Instagram, this happens behind the scene. You post an offer, it takes time for the system to pick it up, and then they begin to show it to the public. I posted that yesterday, and that took me far into the night, there about 11 o'clock in the night, and then I went to sleep. This morning, I'm here again, putting in the hours. What am I saying in effect? What I'm saying is that you do not find stuff like this on YouTube. On YouTube, you're going to be told that you can do it. You can make money. Of course, this is not a bad thing if you take a look at it from the front end. But on the back end, you have a situation where a lot of people are sucked in. They have a lot of bad attitude to their day job because they feel like a YouTuber has kind of flexed to them, shown them what is possible. And they have that lackadaisical attitude to their day job because they feel like they want to be their own boss. They want to be able to make money at their own terms or on their own terms, all right? And then you now see people jump in, without thinking, without counting the cost, jumping into a business or into an area, content creation, whatever it is, only to realize that, man, it's a lot of work. And me sitting here, showing you, sometimes I'll just sit outside drinking coffee. You would not really see what's going on. But me sitting here, telling you that, look, I have put in about well over 10 years in this business. And even then, I still have to sit. Last week, there was some little bit of challenge on my eBay shop, messing up things with the ads, with the offers I posted. But now, a lot of the offers are back online, and I am pretty much waiting for them to be indexed and, begin to sell stuff. I'm taking a look at the competition, taking a look at why items don't sell, what items are selling, and where these guys are even, getting these items that they are able to sell it for so cheap. Because sometimes when I take a look at what they are offering, man, I'm kind of shocked because, yes, it is what it is. What can I do? But the thing is, I have to sit here. Then I'm taking a look, I'm saying that Facebook monetization is a thing. YouTube is a thing. TikTok is a thing. I'm posting of, content on this platform. The content are not doing well, but then I'm still motivating myself to post more content, all right? Trying to look for a little thing that's going to work, testing different things, making sure that I'm doing, the bare minimum, the things that I can actually do, which is staying here, post content, speak to you guys, give you guys value, and hoping that at some point, the algorithm, the universe, everything's going to work the way they're supposed to work, and just make sure that this hard work, this consistency pays off. But the thing is, it takes time to do all these things. Right now, I have, well over 20 tabs opened, different things, tabs from my PC folder, tabs from TikTok, from Facebook, from Instagram, whatever, different things, just throwing at the content there because this is the cool time. When I'm not in the warehouse, I'm cool. I'm able to sit at home and just go all in on the content I have generated, which I have recorded with my GoPro, or sometimes with my iPhone, which, by the way, I've kind of found that it's very, very convenient to record a YouTube video, a YouTube short with your phone. You don't have to think about lighting or stuff like that, even though it's a little bit dark here. But I see the output from the iPhone I'm using here, and I kind of feel like it's so good enough. I don't know why all this while I didn't really think about recording stuff on my phone. The only thing I'm not so sure of is how the audio will sound. And if you are watching this video, I want you to do me a favor, comment in the video, let me know how the audio sounds, if something weird about it or something I should change, or if I should just go outright and get a conventional camera or a conventional microphone. That will go a long way in helping me. But talking about convenience, this makes a lot of sense because I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is just to press record, and I am good to go. So it takes time. And if you are thinking of, going into an area where you have to render a valuable service to people, or which is in form of a business, or you're thinking about, creating content, doing wherever it is, selling online, selling on eBay, Facebook, marketplace, and so on and so forth, please understand that this is not something that you can just, walk up to and handle, whenever you like. Dedicate time to it, count the cost, ensure that the time that you are going to dedicate to this thing doesn't, jeopardize your relationships. If you have a relationship like maybe a wife, kids, and stuff like that, family members, ensure that the time that you're going to put in, yeah, this is kind of a tricky one, because ultimately, if you want to build a real major business out of this whole thing, which is, doesn't matter, clipping videos, making content, selling online, yes, it's going to put a major strain on some relationship, not forever, but in the very beginning, because nobody knows why you are beginning to isolate yourself. Nobody understands that except somebody that has gone that path before. If you are the first person, going through this path in your family, look, they are going to call you names. And like I said, it's not going to be forever. The problem is they're going to call you names because you might not be getting the results that will make them take a closer look and, listen to you when you talk. The result that you might be getting might just be fail. And because of that, nobody takes you serious. Not because they do not love you. It took me a long time to realize that they really do love you and they do not want you to fail. So when you keep coming up with failure results, they're going to think that something is wrong. And you also need to be prepared for that, because that might be a major strain point in your relationship. But if you can overcome those times where things are kind of just low key, you are doing things behind the background, right now I'm posting an untold amount of videos on YouTube. Nothing seems to be sticking, which I do not know why that is so, but I am not going to open a new account just to make sure I post YouTube videos. I feel like the algorithm needs to figure this out by itself. We are in the days of AI, and if the account has not been banned from the back end one way or the other, which I cannot really tell, I feel like at some point these videos are going to get ultimately get views. But in the meantime, I'm just here perfecting my speaking skills. I'm able to, speak to you guys without feeling awkward on camera. When I started a long time ago, I couldn't do what I'm doing now. I'm just telling you, I couldn't do it. So if this is the only benefit that I'm getting right now from me making content, I feel like it's a very big win for me, because all my life I wasn't speaking in public. I wasn't speaking to a camera. And the first time I started about 2-3 years ago, it was strange. But today, just like I'm doing now, I can easily turn on my camera, knowing that I have a content source. I have pretty much a content machine. The only bottleneck is that time I do not have, and someone to go with me, capture this moment, and also someone to, edit these videos. But if you have those structures in place, or you are ready to put an untold amount of work in doing all these things, capturing the important moments that you can share on social media, guy, you are building something great for yourself. And for those out there currently putting in the work, I want to wish you a very happy work week, hoping that you hit your target, you reach your goals. If you have found value, once again, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to see you again in the next video. Peace out.